Anishinaabe, Kane, Zaga Iganing. Yeah, we are listening to the Karen Drift Anishinaabe Moen Show here. I am your host, Mashku Benes, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown on the weather before we get today's festivities running here. Currently in Net Lake, Gisana, Aquajing.
Yep.
Cold outside, and of course it's because I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. Our time of year, of course, is fall. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dagwagin Noongum. That's what I'm trying to think in my head. It is fall, and Wate Bagag is this. It's September. Okay. And so we're currently sitting at 46 degrees out there. Wonderful degrees because it's nice and bright and sunny outside. And we hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you got your nice warm cup of coffee beside you and ready to enjoy the program here. We've got language, a little bit of local history here within the village, and also some cultural discussion also, as it has happened here in the village of Net Lake for probably the last at least 100 years anyway. And we'll get to introducing ourselves here shortly, but I just wanted to give you a rundown of the weather. And like I said, it's 46 degrees out there. Your dew point right now is sitting at 37. Your humidity is at about 76%. Your pressure is 30.31, which was higher than yesterday, right? I think we're at about 29.9 something yesterday. And then your winds are out of the northeast at 4 miles per hour. So yeah, just a little bit of wind out there, slight breeze, let's call it. And your visibility is forever, 10 miles at least anyway, as far as our the horizon goes. And then let's see, your average high normally for this time of year is about 64 degrees, and your average low is right around 41. And let's see what your current forecast is for today. And this is all brought to you by weatherology.com. Those are the people that come in and give you an update on the weather from their studios. I do believe they're out of the Twin Cities. So yeah, Hometown Proud going on there, and we love having their service. So keep tuned here to KBFT, and you'll get these updates every hour. I think it's what's her name? I always like that name, Wujitski. She usually comes on and gives the weather for our area. And let's see, your short range forecast for today, your Thursday, garbage day up in Vermilion. But for today, it's calling for high temperatures reaching up to 56 under sunny skies, winds becoming north around 5 miles per hour. And then for tonight, your Thursday night, lows are going to level off around 37 degrees under mainly cloudy skies. South winds around 5 miles per hour. And I do believe last night they had a frost advisory in effect. And with that low temperature, they're probably going to get down to that frost zone. So keep that in mind if you got your garden and your plants out there. And then for your Friday tomorrow, a high of 57, so it's staying on the cool side, under cloudy skies with a chance for scattered rain, showers late, winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour, and your chance of precipitation is 45% for your Friday, But looking forward to the weekend, I know I am. And just a reminder that today we've got an event this evening, Nashki Benes. You want to tell us about what's happening tonight? I think it's at 5 o'clock, right?
Yep, 5:30. We have Shane Drift coming in to talk about his book, Sad Evil. He has a screenplay, and he has a book series coming out. There's no time frame on it, but it's something special because his writing style is that kind of compares to the way they wrote in that movie Prey. They incorporated native elements to that screenwriting,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what
Yeah.
I think feel like what he's doing.
Right.
So
I encourage everybody to come because you'll see Shane's had this on his plate for probably over 10 years, I would say.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
and just in rough format, and then he worked it out into a book and expanded even on that, and now he's getting into the screenplay stuff. And of course, like Prey and Smoke Signals,
Smoke
and
Signals.
a lot of these other ones that we kind of come up with. I can't remember. There was one that I watched with Michael Grey Eyes. Something about. I'm not even going to say the title, but there's tons of movies that are coming out, and of course Hollywood or these filmmakers are looking for new ideas, and of course there's new elements in there. I'm sure that Shane has incorporated into his book. And so, come and check that out. Maybe you'll get some ideas on, because he's been in discussion with different, I guess filmmakers. One of the ones that he's in touch with, and we've had up here before, and we got to get him up here again, is Travis Holt Hamilton. And he's made a few movies based on Native American stories and worked with Native American communities. So, it'd be interesting to hear like what kind of input he got from a filmmaker, and incorporating that into a screenplay. So come join us tonight at 5 p.m. and Shane will be available, and he'll give us the rundown on his book. And I like this because it's kind of like a prequel,
Yep.
to what he's produced, and hopefully we'll be able to see his progress as this material gets through the creative minds and the creative people that are out there, like Sterling Harjo and Chris Iyer, and Shane could be up in that category, of nationally known script writers and just a writer in general,
Mm-hmm. That's what we want to encourage here. We want to support one another, and when one of us in the community wants to do a project, like whether it's writing a book or a screenplay or doing game boards like my grandma,
Yep.
we uplift one another. So
Definitely. Well, cool. I think we're going to start here. I didn't flap my lips enough. I want to start off with my introduction. Bonjour, sabi kine zage ignin. Anin in Dunaway Gamog. In Dunaway Maganug. Miskobanes Indigenous Cause. Migizi in Dun Dame. Onanami Zagai Gun in Dun Jaba. Na Namindana Noongum Nindaso Babunigiz. Close? 55 years old?
Yeah.
Winters old? Bungi Etago Nita Anishinaabe Moen, and that's this thing that I know a little bit. I know quite a bit, but just got to learn to put it together. And Mi'u Miigwech Bizendawi Nashkibanes.
Nashkibanes, Indigenous Cause, Makwa Nadudem, Speakune Zagagan and Dunjaba, Nisimindana Babunagis, Miigwech Wendam Maya, Kage Wunduk, Gintam.
Bonjour, Minogajeb, Anishinaabe, Kinago, Usawashko, Gijik Nungum, blue sky today, Sina, cold, Sina, Teguagin, fall today, me ill, that means there. Me Kituan, that's all I say. At I think 20 to 11 we'll have a giveaway again, and we'll do for giveaways. Maybe some animals that hibernate.
Oh, okay.
Like a bear, a
There you go.
skunk, not a skunk, a bear, a snake, but anything that hibernates.
That's a good one. We'll go through a list here, right? I think we
Yeah.
got some material for today. Nashki Benes?
Yes, yep. I believe the topic that we wanted to do was that they were talking about it in the RTG meeting
Oh, that
yesterday.
Fred McDougal, you listened to that?
Yeah.
That was nice.
That was a very good presentation.
And where's my papers?
Oh, right here, Graham.
You know, I'm going to put this number up on the screen here. We are Facebook living, if that's a if that's a word. We're on Facebook doing a live video of this program, and I'm going to put this number up on here. You save that number, okay? It's 218-750-7268, and that's the number that you're going to use to call in later to win a prize. And Auntie Karen will give you the task that you'll have to complete in order to win the prize. And we usually take the first caller, so if you're, as soon as Auntie gives the word, then you can go ahead and give us a call. But that number again is 218-750-7268, and she's leaning towards you giving us a list, as many as you can, of animals that hibernate during the winter. And of course, the easiest one you can think of with hibernation is makwa. So makwa is gonna find his or her den here pretty soon, and take a good rest. I'm sure there's a story behind all that we could share once we get some.
Reminded me.
We could share that probably once winter gets going. I'm sure it comes into Nanabuju category of story. And then, like I said, a lot of the teachings come from our stories and our dreams. So that's very important, and that's why I love having Auntie Karen here, because she likes to discuss our dreams and our stories and our legends. So good stuff. And go ahead.
Okay, yesterday I listened to Fred McDougal talk, and it was good. It was good, and I'd like to there is 3 different ways of saying how Net Lake was said before, and I heard like my parents talking about it, my grandparents, saga guan dagu niniyuk. That's what that means. Niniyuk is men, but some say just nini. Zaguan dagu nini in zaguan dagu niniyuk. In a long time, I remember what they were known as long time ago was they were called Bush Indians. I don't know if that was just a name that they made fun of them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, they use that word a lot up in Canada. Bush, the bush,
the Bush Indians, okay, and
or just the bush. They don't really say too much about Bush Indians, but
yeah, that's what they used to say up here.
mm-hmm.
And, but that was never, when I was a little girl, that they used that sabikune zagi igane, or sabikune zagi igan, sagagwandogu niniuk, or nini. And that's how it's spelled. Z-A-A, za, G-A, zaga, G-W-A-N, D-A-G-O, dago, zaguan dago, niniuk, N-I-N-I, nini, that's a man, men, nini, N-I-N-I. And, but that's all I knew of. And I was just thinking, maybe that's why too they call that, because we were way far in the woods, you know. We're way
Mhm.
far from everybody. Like towns, we're far from big towns like Duluth, Virginia, Bemidji, you know, all that. Then I was thinking about these old sayings long time ago. What them old people, like I can remember, they would say these stuff mainly when they were goose gravy.
Mhm.
Like I remember my Uncle Bill, he used to go around singing Manu, Manu. That means let it go, Manu, Manu. And then I remember Dejan's dad, they called him Shi Bayat. That was his Indian name. And that's all they called him, and that's all I known him as, Shi Bayat. And he used to go around when he was drunk, used to say, take your time, take your time. He used to say that over and over.
Mhm.
And then my uncle, another one of my uncles, that was J.S., John Strong. Well, his really name is George, but they just called him John. And he used to say, here today, gone tomorrow. And
Mhm.
they'd only say that when they were drunk over and over again.
Mhm.
And then there was one lady that would say, how about that? You know,
Mhm.
at the end of everything, she'd say, how about that? You know? But I was just thinking about all them,
Mhm.
and I can still remember all their Indian names.
Oh, okay.
And there was something else we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I think it was, you said, yeah, let's bring up what, Tracy Dagan emailed me and Jay. She wanted to know how to say, we are water. And you came up with because Jay was he was kind of geared towards, it said, what is it? Nibi women? No, Nibi. There was a second one he came up with too, because he said, well, the first part of the sentence is inclusive to the part of the sentence structure, but then I'm trying to think. Then you said it was more about like kind of like Nibi.
Oh, I said
Bimadis.
water is life. I said life is water. It could be both ways, you know. Water is life. Nibi bimadisi.
Well,
Nibi bimadisi.
Yep.
And you can say like, life is water. Bimadisi nibi.
Madisi Nibi.
Bimadisi nibi. So you could turn that around. That's how I would say life is water. I mean, what did she want to say?
We are water.
Oh yeah, that would be we are water.
Nibi Bimadisi.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, because there's it's hard when you try to translate like Jay said like when you try to translate like a figurative speech,
Yeah.
or like something of like kind of like English origin, like translating it to Anishinaabe one can be.
Yeah. I forget, like Panda Whiteman come to me one time and asked me how to say something about young men or young boys, and that's all I said was Shkilniniuk, young men, Shkilniniuk,
Shkiuniniuk.
or Shkilguizasuk, and my little boys, like 12 or under, you know, young boys. And she said something about strong, yeah. Anyway, I did two things for her, which one she wanted to use. See, when you do something like that, you can look at different ways of putting them together. There's not only one way, there's a whole different ways you can, and then you can have them pick like which one sounds better to you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of lot of sayings on, like when they're having stuff going on, like they have like a topic, like that one I'm having next week is Iquayag ladies. Iquayag, I just have ladies get together, or she did. Peyton put it together, so she could have put, Iquayag, Zakaswadiuk lady meeting, ladies meeting.
Iquayog is like a Swedish. Wow, she should start. Yeah, she should. She should use that on her flyers.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Then
Ladies meeting.
Just put a print on there, ladies meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different, or you could have ladies, Koya, Gigaduk, ladies talking, Koya, Gigaduk.
So for today, we're not freestyling. Today we will refer to they call it the Ojibwe language table, but we say Anishinaabe.
Yeah, you notice I never use Ojibwe.
Never.
I never do that because it ain't us.
Yep.
It's more Red Lake,
Kayla McKenzie said, Boujou, how do I say sister in the language? Miigwech. Nisime?
Yeah.
Is there another way?
Shime.
Shime.
There's a little, so you can look up a big sister and a little sister, and just sister. Shime, sister. I think GMS, there's a GMS, that's a little, GMS, I think that's a younger one, younger sister or brother, yeah.
Shimes?
GMS.
GMS.
I remember that word, Nishimes, or is that
Yeah.
Nishime?
Nishime.
Nishime?
Nishime. Yep. Nishime.
Shime.
Sister.
There's a Danabushu story about Shime. It's called Shime, about a little lost boy.
Mm.
And Shime.
Well, I can't wait to get to winter time. That's what thinking about all the stories and stuff that we can do, So
Shime. Then that one. Yeah, there's so many of them. Some of them are all different. Like I noticed Net Lake, how Net Lake was found. There's about 3, 4, 5 different versions of, but the one I go by is the one Jessie told, because she got the story from Big Day, Charlie Day.
mm-hmm.
She got it from Nasi, all of them, they were here on this own reservation, so they should know the real story on how this reservation was found. She said they came from Hibbing that way, and they come up the river.
Mm-hmm.
He was alone. He was paddling alone, and that's when he come out by Lost River or Wood Duck, one of them, and he seen looked like a big hayfield, and he followed to the island, and he noticed it was rice or whatever, and went back and got all the other Anishinaabe, and they all come here, and she was even telling us that they camped out on Big Point over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the Indians camped out when they first come.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said she got the story from Charlie Day, and Nasi and I guess Nasi's parents or grandparents told him the same story,
Is that the one that was used for that little book?
The one
The one that
Carl Gobble.
Yeah, I think he did the painting
Yeah,
on
he
them.
did the book. I can't
And I
find
think that
it.
was Frida, right? Or our relative that helped them out with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Frida Boje or
Yeah.
Frida Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't find that book here?
It's here. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know where it's at, and you know, it wasn't widely published. I think it was put out by the Education Department, the
Mhm.
United States Education Department. But there's books here and there. I know. I think in our resource, we're trying to build a resource center there.
That one is colored.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Blue.
orangish kind of a color.
No, this one has a nice blue sky,
Oh,
and it has a
okay.
picture of a lake in front of it.
Let me go look.
And,
I'm gonna go and
yeah.
find that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys carry on here, and then I'll be back with that book.
Mhm. Yeah, I hope you can find it. We can get more copies to put in a library and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People can get them.
Are you talking about the Legend of Nett Lake book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I want to read that. I haven't. How would I say I should read that?
Gindaso.
Gigandaso.
Yeah, you should read it. Yeah. I know there's a lot of stories that were told about Nett Lake. You know, about back in probably the 30s, the 40s, and till everything started going out and leaving. You know, leaving. Everybody start, like all the old people start getting a bog. They start dying. And there's a lot of stories. I think I was listening to Lester's mom and dad talk, and they were talking about some guy around that lake there that had a Nanabushu story that has really, he didn't tell much people about it. He didn't, and they knew, Bago knew, his dad knew the story, but he didn't write it down, and that was lost.
He didn't pass it on to
He
anybody
didn't
yet.
pass it on, no, and a lot of stuff like that, and I wish, a lot of stories were passed down. Same way, like, we got a lot of history around here around like how it used to be, how it was, well, now things change and change, and we don't never get nothing back, maybe someday when we're all gone here, maybe a month ago, I don't know that's how you say, I don't know, a month ago. Away. And another thing I was gonna talk about here is, hang on. Oh, I was putting sentences up to, oops. I'm just touching everything here and banging everything. But, oh, these are words that are hardly used anymore around here, even by the ones that can speak, and that's me and Harvey, and Jean used to use some of the words, like when you have when you sit too long and your feet get all picky, they used to call that geekamunside, and I wrote up a whole bunch of sentences, and I was supposed to put them on, like a hammer and a nail, like Puck KG gun is a hammer, Puck KG gun, and a nail is saga gun. I can't even remember how to say that now. Nail, soggy, so. Oh, I have to think about that. And just if like you hit somebody, you puck they off. That means hit him or her. Puck they off. And we pendige, like I said, we sleep with somebody. We pendige. And like dikuna, that means somebody who looks like somebody. Like I could say dikuna nashki bines, looks like Perry, or dikuna nashki bines, dikuna Perry, dikuna. It's just and I have like 400 words here that they're all in sentences. Like when I said not pakizune, that means you have your shoes on wrong feet. Not pakizune. So you can see kizune. You can see moccasin. Not pakizune. And that's what I was saying, like a wannabe son. That means fog or mist. Fog or mist.
A wannabe son?
Yeah. See, what do you see in the front?
A wand, which is fog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nibi.
It's the actual story, Graham. I had the workbooks on my desk for The Legend of Net Lake.
Okay. Nibi is water.
Mm-hmm.
A wannabe son.
Wannabe. Okay.
Yeah. In that son is them little bitty driplets that are like on your license. I mean on your window,
car?
your
Yeah.
car window. George found a story about see then this here it should be. See, it says here, long time, Mewisha. That's long time ago. The Anishinaabe, but they have the Ojibwe people, were wanderers. They had come from far in the east to find a home for themselves. They wanted a nice place to settle down and make their village. And there's pictures of kids, and they were waiting for some kind of a sign that would lead them. They stopped at many places, but they knew there was still somewhere that they would find.
Where's the coffee real quick?
They were waiting for some kind of sign. The Anishinaabe people listened to the elders of the tribe, for they were very wise, and having spent many winters on the earth, many of the elders had a special gift of powers to help their people. Like probably the one power that they had good was dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that I guess for people out there, what is the difference? Like if you have a dream versus like you have a vision. I know like on that what was that Thunderheart, where they were just kind of teasing about that, where that guy that returned from the reservation, he had this dream that he was at this particular historical site, and and that other Indian guy, that Graham Greene character, turns and looks at him and says, "You had yourself a vision, didn't you?"
Yeah, Indians can have visions.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe that's in a dream, or
Oh, okay.
even when they're like it really happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was dreaming, but I was awake, and
Yeah.
I seen this thing, and I knew that was a vision,
Mm-hmm.
and went away.
No.
Oh, and then another thing, I was thinking, just Tuesday, when I come here, I went home and I took a nap, and I got up and I asked Vera, I said, "Did I go to work today?" I said, "Did I go to the station today?"
Mhm.
She said, "Yeah, you did." I thought I slept and was
Dreamt the
yeah.
morning, or okay.
Mhm.
I've done that too. That's
Mhm.
really crazy when that happens.
In one of the tribes, the Anishinaabe, there was a wise old man, Kiwezi. This Kiwezi Bawachige over and over a special place that he could go and pick a wonderful medicine that would help his people. He wondered what the dream meant, for he knew that he was being told something of great importance.
Mm.
In his dream, in his Bawachige, the old Kiwezi saw a large lake covered with monomen. Monomen was very special to the Anishinaabe, a gift from the Great Spirit. The lake was very big and had hundreds of Gishib and Nika on it. Around the shores in the forest there was many wild animals for the Anishinaabe to hunt.
So Gitchi Agaming or Chi Agaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old Kiwezi told no one of his dream, but thought about it all the time. Finally, one day he told the band of the dream he had. They all listened, as everyone knew that the Anishinaabe were told many things in their dreams. After hearing of the dream, the band packed their belongings, and they followed the old man to the north in search of the medicine he had Bawachige.
And the medicine is Mashkiki.
Yeah, Mishkiki. So they left by Jimon and traveled down a river now called Lost River.
And a Jimon is a canoe.
Yeah. The old Kiwezi became excited as he began to recognize places he had seen in his dream. And that's where Jessie was saying that Charlie Day told her they come from this way toward
Lost River.
Lost River, or
Mhm.
not Net River.
Oh, Net River.
But this is Lost River.
Mm-hmm.
But they come toward Hibbing, so they would come this way.
Oh, from the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he knew that truly his dreams were leading his people to something important. The whole band wondered where they were going.
Yeah, because I guess both would make sense, because they said that our band, or our people, most of the people in this area had come from over the top of Lake Superior, along with the Canadian group. And then there were some that went down to the south, right, on
Yeah.
this migration, following this Negus shell.
Yeah.
And so everybody was called to their special place.
Then that old man just happened to be called to Boys Fort here
Mhm.
for Net Lake. Soon the river widened, and the old QSE saw a large, beautiful lake. The lake was covered with Manom, and Shishib and Nika were all over the lake. Wawashkeshi, Adik, and Moose were feeding and drinking along the shores. The old man knew he had found a special place. Yeah, that's when there was so much ducks here.
Yep, probably so many deer.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, plentiful. He paddled his Jimon onto the lake looking for an island that he had seen in his dreams, Wajige. That was the island he had dreamt, and on it was the good medicine. After paddling for a while, the old man heard voices of children playing and laughing. You know, we heard that. A bunch of us kids. We tried to stay up all night long. There was 4 of us, and we were down by Albert's Landing there. There was Kenny, me, Gillig, Clara, Sarah. There was all of us. We were all down there. We stayed in a tent. Albert put a tent up, and here we were out trying to stay up all night. And we went that you could walk all the way by the shores. And we got up, say it was not even dark yet. I mean, not even light. Here we went walking that way, got halfway, and we could hear somebody playing on an island, like having fun, splashing, laughing. You know, little kids, like someone be no jig. So we listened, and we knew it was coming from the island, and we all got scared, and we took off running back to the tent where Albert put up we all ran in there in that tent, and we were scared to go out there again, but
and that's when the lake was pretty dry and you could walk around the shore. Is that what you're saying?
no,
Oh.
the lake was really, they kept it good in them years. They kept the
Because I
lake.
still remember when I had my motorcycle, and I used to be around during the summers. Yeah, it was before, must have been 8th grade, I think. 8th, maybe 7th. I'm trying to remember when I got my motorcycle. But there was a time when I could ride all along the shore, all the way from Goofy's down there, probably all the way down towards the ponds, back that way.
Yeah, you could go all the way to Big Point.
This
This
go all the way
way,
around.
yeah.
It's nice and sandy.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
like sugar sand.
Yep.
And that's where after paddling for a while, the old man heard voices of children playing and laughing. So they must be their kids still living.
No, when you said that island, that's I got a list here that says Naui Guam.
Yeah, Naui Guam.
Naui Guam. Okay.
The people could see a small island in a distance near the shores on the island. The children could be seen playing and sliding into the water. The old man saw the island, and at once he knew it was the one in his dreams. As they got near, they could no longer hear nor see the children. They had disappeared. And that must have been the same thing us kids heard when we were little kids, you know,
Yeah.
when we heard them playing. The old man and his band stopped and walked on the island. There they saw the medicine and began to pick it. As they picked the medicine, the people saw many different symbols on the rocks of the island. Even below the water, they saw the sacred symbols on the rocks. These symbols are going away now. You can hardly see them. You ever go out there lately?
Not lately, no. I know. I think the last time I went out duck hunting was the fall before my heart attack, which would have been 2012. I think is the last time I was out there. But yeah, And
The old man was very excited. He led his people to such a good place as he gathered medicine, he looked up and saw a spirit which looked like a man standing nearby. The old man walked over to the spirit and stood near him. The spirit talked to the old man and told him many things. The elders of the band to this day will not tell what the spirit told the old man. But that's the same one like Jesse told. The spirit wore a shirt that looked like a net. That is why this wonderful place is called Net Lake, from the way the spirit shirt looked. Today the sacred markings are on the rocks above and below the water, and the rocks are smooth where the children slid down them. The island is called Spirit Island, but the people still respect it. And they called it Maui Guam. That's what Jesse called the.
It's right here too. I knew I wasn't, because I know that there was a big post going around a few years ago. I can't remember who they brought up, but they said money do, Spirit Island. I said, yeah, that translates to Spirit Island, but I said the elders from way long before I was here called it Nawaguam.
so that, I don't know, I just think that's an example of, that's what I was asked, and I don't know if I'm understood, but I say, is there like a robin, right? I mean, everybody learns to say bird, but then you want to know what a robin, apache, So, and then are there any other? I'm sure there is. I'm sure the language is that encompassing to where you would know different. Like I don't know, are female and male different? They must look different, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there must be differences in words as when you're talking about a male or a female one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there too. There's the proof right there. I mean, like I said, both are acceptable. Zaga Iganing and Zaga Igan. This person, who wrote this?
I'm not sure where that one came from. I just, it was attached to the book itself, so.
We got this from your grandma Jessie.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, really?
Because she told us she was leaving us all parts of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Day just asked about this too. I remember a few months ago he said, could we, because one of my friends on Facebook did that in Cass Lake, found out all the Anishinaabe Moan names for
Traditional names, yeah.
Traditional names, yep,
Mhm.
of all these landing areas and these historic places.
They just did that in Duluth too. I know Ricky Defoe.
All those signs, all
those signs
Yep.
on that. I think it's a city trail or a state trail that they all renamed, and I think they got through half of them, and so they kind of celebrated an event maybe 2 years ago or something like that. I saw a news story on that. But yeah, I think that's really cool that when they recognize the original, name of these places.
Yep, and that's part of respect and honor right there. And I think if we were to do something like that, the only thing I think we couldn't do is obviously we can't put anything on Spirit Island. That's a no-no, right? But you could probably put a sign shoreline, kind of adjacent to where, not on the island, because I know that you always said that because they were
Actually,
gonna.
that'd be a really good deal if we could put like a landmark. I mean, the state of Minnesota and the United States do that all over the place. They have the historical marker and they have a little pull-off area
Yeah.
and a nice sign that's there, and it kind of explains what happened at that particular area. So there you go. There's a project. I don't know. Maybe you and
Oh, I would love to do that. I already have the ideas straight in my head.
Jay.
Like this place coming into Net Lake, just put your entering Sabikone Sagi Iganing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'll go get that. That was my office.
Sabikone Sagi Iganing. How do you say recipe? Shkunigan.
Shkunigan. Yep. And Shkunigan is just like leftover, right?
Yeah, the Shkunigan. No, that's, I know. It's
It sounds like that?
different, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I
Okay.
heard Mike Dunkley talking about that over at the food shelf that one day,
Mhm.
and that's what he was describing. Oh, leftovers or something like that.
Yeah.
And
No, it's different. It says, I know there's a word for leftovers,
Oh,
like when
okay.
you're, okay,
who you got coming in?
yeah, we got like a special guest for
Oh, great.
like 15 minutes.
Okay,
Then maybe we'll take one little break first and then
okay.
we'll have our special
Did you still want to
guest.
do a quick giveaway or something this hour? Because you could probably do another one next hour, right? Or you just want
Yeah,
to go right into this
We
first?
can go right into this first.
Okay, all right,
5-minute break.
all right.
Tell,
Right.
tell your dad to come in here.
Oh, okay.
We can ask him questions like about his language.
Mm,
You
okay.
know, you know, he's
Mhm.
teaching language in Whitehurst.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
teacher there.
All right.
Namatapinama.
Yeah. Mike's on.
Hey! And joining us in here, we have a special guest, a special guest. My good brother, Pete.
There you go, Dad.
Pete Drift. Yeah, I grew up with this guy. He was always a respectful man, always quiet, reserved, and very powerful, carried about him a very powerful spirit all of his life. And he's, carried that through in a good way and dedicated his life, to serving the community. And he was a police officer here for quite some time, and I know he's moved on to some greener pastures and making a good deal over there. And just want to make mention too that you're well, I'll let you explain all of that, what you're up to nowadays. But I'm gonna let your ma lead the discussion here.
Okay, introduce yourself in Indian if you know. I know you can.
Bonjour. Bomniwe Geisha condition cause is weekend Zagi gun and Dune Chupa. Makwad and Dudam. Nana Medina. You and Papunikis. What I said was my name is Thunder in a distance coming this way. My name is Pete Drift Sr. I am Bear Clan. I'm from Boys Fort. I am 55 winters old. It's good to be here.
Oh, yep.
Ask you like a question like when about your language. How did you come across learning and all that when you were in grade school or whatever?
I remember when we were in elementary school. I remember Frida Boje had one of those recorders, and we had the sheets that you could run through, and it would kind of like a dictaphone where you could run it through, and it would say the Indian word on it. And also my grandmother Jessie, I'd go listen to her in the mornings, and I'd go listen to her talk. And also my grandpa Ray, I'd go listen to them talk. So
Explain a little more about that dictaphone. That's
I know.
one thing that I never saw.
I seen it. It was in the elementary school. Remember we used to have the old trailer houses,
Yeah.
and I remember those they were cards,
Yep.
and you would run them through, and it would say the
Oh, wow.
English word on it.
Okay.
But then when you would run it through, it would say
Oh, okay.
boat,
Yeah.
canoe, Gmon. It would.
Oh, really?
I think it was Frida that was the one that
Okay.
did the recording on it, and I always wondered where
Yeah.
that went.
Yep.
Freedom
You know what? Who was that? Priscilla mentioned that she had some material one time. I didn't get a chance to go down there before she had passed, but she had said that she had some either documents or something resource from the old library. She said, so maybe they're down there or something. I always felt bad. I remember they were moving somebody out of the elderly building over here too at one time, and they must have been cleaning it out because the family didn't come by and, you know, sort through the items or anything like that. And they just had all the pictures, black and white, all the way back from way back. All these people that I didn't know, they just had them thrown in outside the door, outside.
I asked about them,
History.
about all that stuff down in that basement, and they said they were all thrown away.
Mhm.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think they should go through a lot of that stuff, you know what I mean, when some of our elders move on, you know, because, yeah, I know they hold those things, like you're looking for that effigy, you
Yep.
know,
Mhm.
and evidence of that, and maybe something like that would have turned up, you know,
Yeah.
like a bill of sale or some kind of little paper saying, oh yeah, I was the one who sold that effigy that stood in front of Strongville, you know.
I really do. That's one of my goals. I want to try and track those down and
Yeah.
get them back.
Well, anyhow, I didn't mean.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead.
Talk
Dump.
more.
Okay, well, I work for White Earth now, and a lot of the people ask me how do I say White Earth policeman in our language, and how you say White Earth. How they say it is Gawa Bobby Gunnikuk. That's how you say White Earth. Just like that lake they say speaking a Zaki gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, what I tell them is, Gawa Bobby Gunning Kanaweo Ninichigang. That's how they say White Earth policeman.
Mm.
So how we would say it here is, how we say it is, speaking a Zagi gun, go Kanaweo Niniyuk.
Mm.
That's how Boys Fort would say, Boys Fort policeman.
Policeman?
Yep.
Okay.
So I get a lot of that. I go into the schools a lot. I help with the culture.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably 3 or 4 elementary schools,
Mm.
and that encompasses White Earth Reservation.
Yeah.
And I go there and help with the culture class. Enjoy it. So
Right on. Yeah. How about the use over there? Is it more significant, noticeable? Are there more speakers, or I mean, I understand their population is probably 10 times ours.
yes.
Yeah. So how has that affected their community?
Well, we just lost a very respected elder in the White Earth Nation here probably about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He taught at the Cola School, and oh geez, it took a real hit to the White Earth Nation.
Mm.
And I met him a few times. He gave our police department a culture class. There's a lot of our department encompasses half native and half non-native, and we
Mm-hmm.
brought him in, and he gave our staff a thing on all our traditions and so
Mhm.
forth, which is really good. But he ended up passing probably about a year ago, and just
Mm.
took a hit to the White Earth Nation.
Right. That's why I really appreciate Auntie being here, you know, your mom and Perry's grandmother coming in. And I mean, this is so important, you know, to maintain our language and keep it alive. And that's, my heart goes out to the community over there for their loss. I know there's a lot of resources that are out there, you know, like books and some
Yes.
libraries and things like that. Has that been a part of your learning?
Right now, we go into the charter school, and there's a young teacher that I think she just graduated from, and she's very fluent, and
Mhm.
geez, I like to sit in her class and just listen to her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can just, I help out during, like, they're gonna be doing, they do all the board games, we gave her,
Yep,
we gave,
like Perry and
Perry's
Grant's
games, yep,
Okay.
we gave them that. They really enjoy that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they really enjoy that, and
Mhm.
just, I enjoy I've been working for White Earth now for coming up on 7 years,
Mhm.
and I enjoy it. I still get to help people. I
Mhm.
still get to go to the culture classes. I go in every community I can. We very, very, I guess, protective of our elders there.
Yeah.
We do walkthroughs where they have
Mhm.
4 or 5 elderly complexes.
Yeah.
That I actually started doing walkthroughs of them just to make sure our elders are safe and our kids are safe.
Oh, yeah.
We do school.
That is awesome.
Yep.
How many elders do you think are fluent yet in the White Earth?
White Earth's a pretty big reservation. I would say maybe 25, 30
Okay.
Mhm.
that I know of.
Mhm.
That I know of, but there's quite a bit.
I bet.
But like you said, they just took a hit here about a year ago, and very spiritual and fluent
Mhm.
speaker. And
How about, because of the language and, it sounds pretty like a concerted effort, but what other things support learning the language in that community? I mean, they have powwows, I know, and most
Yes.
everybody has powwows, but.
they have
What-
they have a roundtable discussion. I
Mhm.
try to get I want my mom to come down. I think they
Mhm.
have that every Thursday at White Earth College.
Mm.
It's a roundtable discussion. It usually goes for about 1 to 2 hours,
Mhm.
and I try to get my mom to come down to that and
And
participate.
they bring up topics.
Topics just like this.
Just like learning and.
Just like learning
like
and-
what's going on.
Yeah, everyone can attend, and
Mhm.
I enjoy that. Very knowledgeable on the White Earth culture, and
Mhm.
just if someone wanted to attend it, they can. And
How do you pronounce White Earth in there?
White Earth, they pronounce White Earth as Gawa Babi Gunikuk.
Gawabi.
That's how you say
Bunnikuk.
White Earth Nation.
Gawabi Bunnikuk.
Gawa Babi Gunikuk.
Gawababi Bunnikuk. Okay.
Right on, there you go.
That was where Hole in the Day's from, right? No.
No,
Well,
he's
no,
from
he's-
Leech Lake.
Leech Lake.
Yeah.
Okanegishik.
How many little parts do they have in White Earth? Like there's
What's so nice about White Earth, because all the surrounding towns are Ojibwe named.
Mhm.
Like I live in Monoman,
Yeah.
and that's Wild Rice.
Mhm.
And to the
Wobbin,
to the east of us is Wobbin, a town called Wobbin.
Mhm.
And then
something with
To the south of us, there's a town called Bijou
Mhm. Mhm.
Links.
and Lynx. And then I believe to the south of us again, there's another town called Ogama,
Mhm.
which means chief,
Yep.
or leader.
Mhm.
Ugima.
Yep, so all the neighboring towns in White Earth are
Indian.
Anishinaabe.
I think they even got
Yep.
Rice Lake too, but they call it Monomizage Gun or something. No, or I might be getting it wrong. But all their signs are in the language. I've noticed that too.
Yep, so all the towns, neighboring towns are Anishinaabe Moan.
Mhm. And what do you notice? Like a lot of the kids, like the ones your mom teaches here, I've always been impressed by when they get out and do their demonstration. Like at graduation or something. What kind of usage are you seeing over there? Like, are they?
That was
Do they interact and talk with each other, or are they?
my grandson, my Pete third.
Mhm.
What they did is they sang all their songs in
Oh, okay.
Anishinaabe,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Wow.
very cool. I think he's in first or second grade,
Okay.
and I was just very impressed with that class because they sang all their
Mm-hmm.
choir in Anishinaabe.
Mm.
Vince Olson is he the teacher over there?
I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 elementary schools in
Mhm.
Monoman, Wobbin, Ogama, Pine Point. They all have elementary schools.
Mm-hmm.
Their college even has that language program. that I seen that looks pretty cool. They have like, what is it, a 2-year program?
Yes, a 2-year program in Native Studies.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get my son Perry to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very
Mhm.
structured and
Get certified.
Get
Yep.
you in and get you out and be all up to code.
Yeah, because I do. That's my goal. My end game goal is I want to end up before I'm 40, end up teaching at a college somewhere the language. And then
Mhm.
Well, that should be everyone's goal, is to
Yep. Learn the language.
When you retire, Pete, then you should just start teaching. Go into with the kids after you're 60.
Well, in 3 years, I'll be eligible for retirement again, and I plan to. That's what I plan to do. I plan to submerge myself into the Anishinaabe Moen and all the culture aspects of it, because we do the Cola School in White Earth. They do everything. They do
Mm-hmm.
the sweat lodges. They
Oh,
do
okay.
maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
They do ricing. I think they just got done with the ricing class.
Nice.
The kids, and they had a outstanding race season this year.
Mhm.
White Earth.
Yeah.
My wife, she's a White Earth enrollee.
Mm-hmm.
She went out twice this year. I think
Mhm.
White Earth brought in 160,000 pounds of
Mm.
wild rice this
A
year.
lot of work.
So they had a outstanding racing season this year.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures and I was just like, wow.
I know. I had to. I was very excited for my wife. I was kind of jealous of her
Yeah.
when she'd come in and she'd
Mhm.
have rice beards on her,
Yeah.
on her
Yeah,
pants and
yeah.
shirt, and
Mm-hmm.
it just made me
Yeah.
jealous, and
Me too.
I just wanted, but I can't go out racing on White Earth,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know there's other parts of the Indian country that can harvest. You know, I don't know what some of these Canadian reserves up there. I know they do like the boat stuff. I don't know how they did up there either. I didn't ever see any reports. Usually they post some stuff on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, so be interesting to see what happens there. I know down on Fond du Lac, I think they had somewhat of a good harvest, or
Harvest,
they were able to get out there and at least be in the boat and get as much as they could. So yeah, I wish we were able to get some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to go out on the state lakes and stuff.
So
So
I remember racing on Vermilion and
yep.
going on the state lakes and
Mhm.
racing.
Yep, that was way back. But I really like that you brought up that for Auntie Frida, and her teachings, because I came back in 1970. Me and Peter are about the same age.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I didn't get into the village until 1976 when my dad was getting a little bit more sick with his diabetes, and so we wanted to stick around here, just to
Yeah.
keep him around. And but when we when we moved up, the first teacher I remember was I think it was Gilbert Caribou. Yeah, and I think he was around for a little while, and I think Dejan took over after that.
Yes.
Yep. And then Gene came in right after that, and Gene's been here forever. So.
Yep. Gene was also my teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids' teacher.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jean showed you how to make watch bands. You still know how to do that?
I believe I do. Yes. Gene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember in his class doing beadwork and all that stuff. So Gene taught me how to make a bead of watch band.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You don't even see those anymore.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
There's an idea for you, some entrepreneur out there.
Yeah, bring them back.
I didn't even think of that either, because I wear, I don't know if they make like a band for this, what is this called? iWatch?
Yep, I watch.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is called. But anyways, an Apple one anyway, and I'm sure they make all these other digital watches and stuff, but that'd be really something to get into, is if you could do that for the watches. So anybody that's out there, yeah, check it out. I know I seen somebody doing these, I didn't even know what these shoes were. I didn't even like them. I didn't really care for them, but I saw this little design on the heel end of it, and I was like, oh, that almost looks kind of native, you know?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and so that's why I bought them, but I didn't know what they were, you know? And then next thing you know, I'm walking everywhere, and everybody's saying something about, oh, hey, those are nice. How do you like your hey dudes, you know? And I'm like, what? Oh, that's what they're called. I was, but I see some people out there now. They're beating these things. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Beating around.
Yep. And they're, they're just made out of fabric, so they're not leather or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I like the, a lot of the cultures coming back, even the Anishinaabe to the wider, the kids. And sometimes when I go into the school, they ask if I could do a invocation. And I think every person that's Anishinaabe has to learn an invocation, and I say miigwech to Gagewanuk, that's my mom's Indian name. She had taught me the proper way to do an invocation.
Right.
And I got to use that several times in White Earth.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. And it's good that you do that. I'm proud of you.
and I always say at the end of my invocation, I say miigwech Gagewanuk. Thank you, Mist Above a River. That's my mom's name, and I always thank her when I'm done with my invocation. So she's the one who taught me the invocation.
Right.
Then you're teaching others to do it in White Earth.
Yes.
That's good. You're, well,
Passing it on.
yeah.
I always thought my dad looked like Bagel. I seen that old picture of Jesse and Ray when he's sitting at that table and he's looking back. I could just see my older brother and my dad in the facial features.
I was looking at George that one. Remember I
Oh
told
yeah,
you?
yep. You're
What
looking at
did I
Miss
say?
Copenhagen's.
Miss Copenhagen is starting to look like JS. I saw.
And we grew up next to JS.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And, I love
Powerful spiritual
I love
spiritual
going
person.
visiting with him because we live right across the street from him, and see him walking. Sometimes in his later part, he would walk down towards the lagoon early in the mornings, and I'd get kind of worried because he was getting older, and sometimes I would go down and just to make sure he would come make it back. And one time he stopped halfway, and I remember running back down and helping him back to his residence.
Yeah.
And I just our elders, I think is
You gotta look out for them.
look out for them. That's what I always tell my kids and my grandkids.
Yep. Yep.
Be respectful of your elders and always look out for them.
No, for sure.
Look-
You know what? But there's well, I don't know where they learned it from. Maybe school or something. But some of them, it's really hard to reach. To instill that in our kids. And I don't know if it's they learned it on cartoons or what.
YouTube or
Yeah.
TikTok now.
Like it really surprised me that one day we asked. He's in I think Head Start now. No, not Head Start. What's the other one? Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Kindergarten. And just jokingly, I know he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my ma asked him. He's just a little guy. Hey, can you go and do this? And then he goes, no, and he takes off running. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, hey, you get back here. But he turned back around as soon as I said something, and he said, oh yeah, okay, all right. He said, I was just joking. He was saying, I said.
Well, they ought to be taught when they're young, because now we know, like, manners,
Yep. And that's the thing with him is he hasn't had much exposure socially, you know what I mean, with other groups and kids and stuff like that. So he's got a lot to learn as far as social interaction and stuff like that.
JS didn't have kids for a long time, and he was like the dad to all of us. Every morning before school, he'd make us to each take a teaspoon of cod liver oil, and we had to take it, and he was so strict. If we threw it up, we'd have to take it until we swallowed it. And he kept everybody in line. And it seemed like he favored he favored Louis' kids,
Mm.
Uncle Louis' kids, because
Oh,
he
okay.
said they were really mannered. They had good, you know.
Oh, okay.
That was Gillig, Norm, Roger, and Lou. The girls
Mhm.
weren't
Yeah.
born yet,
Yeah.
but I know Pete and them lived by him. He gave Pete was only in the 8th grade, and JS called me over to his house and he gave me a big feather. He said, "Give this to little Pete when he goes into the service,"
Mm-hmm.
which meant he didn't go into the service, but he was going to be a policeman.
Mm-hmm.
So that when he was a policeman, and I gave him that feather.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
And my youngest, we're talking about Pete Jr., he's been working for Wire PD for just as long as I have been working for Wire PD. Pete Jr. works nights and I work days. So when I'm getting off, when he's getting off work, I'm just coming on. So we usually stop and visit each other ask him how his shift is going and you know. So yeah, he's still doing it. Pete, he's still a cop.
does he know some of his language?
Yeah, he was just messaging me yesterday. He said, "How do you say goose in Ojibwe?" And I said, "Nika, nika." He said, "Oh." He said, "I was saying it right." He said, Amy was laughing at him, saying, "No, that's not how you say it."
Yeah,
his wife.
A lot of our
Newell.
non-native officers, they ask Pete a lot of the questions about our traditions, like when do we give out tobacco, and sometimes when people pass, they have like spirit fires outside their house, you know, and what's the proper way? Can we stop in and you know, give some tobacco to the spirit fire? You know, I said, you know, yes. So we encourage all our officers to carry some Sema in their patrol cars,
Even non-Indian?
even non-Indians. Yes.
That's good there.
We- so, but yeah, it's going good.
Who gave you your Indian name?
My grandma, Jessie, gave me
No, Nasi.
Nasi. Okay.
Remember?
My grandma was there.
Yeah, Grandma was there. She had Nasi come and give you your Indian name.
Isn't he the Nasi Benner?
Yeah.
He helped with that Legend of Nut Lake book, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I seen his name on the credits on the workbook. Billy Blackwell, Nasi Benner,
Mm-hmm.
a few other people helped too.
Yeah. Remember Nasi wanted a picture with you?
Yeah.
That's because you were his Niwe.
He went in.
You were his name giver.
When
From Nowakishik.
you guys mentioned Lou, is that the same Lou that would come down with Squeak and play cards with you guys?
Yeah,
That's
that was Lou. That was Gillig's next to Gillig.
I always remember him and Squeak used to roll their own samapo gasuk. They used to have those colorful what do they call it, pouches or those cases.
Mhm.
They always had them in their shirt, those shirt pockets they used to have wearing.
Did you have any teachers in your grade that influenced you to go on and do good or whatever?
Like George said, I think Gene was our teacher in high school, all through high school, and you know, just some of Gene's teachings and
Do you have any non-Indian teachers that influenced it?
there was a few in high school, in elementary school, that
What about old Mick?
Mr. Elram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed Mr. Elram. He was very, I guess, kept you on the right path going to high school. And I enjoyed Mr. Elram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your son would always get along with him all the time. We'd always have a good time, have good laughs, tease each other, and yeah, it's just like a, I don't know, like a big brother kind of a guy, you know.
Yeah.
There's
So-
always-
On the way up here, I was listening to the radio program, and
Mhm.
I kind of wish that I guess we'd get more immersed in our culture and our language.
Mhm.
We're losing it very quickly, and there's only going to be very few of us left that want to carry it on and pass it on to our kids, and that's why every chance I get, I can,
Mhm.
I'm with my grandkids and my kids, and I'm trying to get my son Perry here to go through Medewi,
Yeah.
and he needs to go through that Medewi,
Mhm.
and I believe a lot of the young kids in White Earth now, they're going through their Medewi.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, that's one of the things I always felt about the language and learning the language, because I always knew that was I don't want to say requirement, but it just kind of lends itself to your whole, you know what I mean? When you learn your language, you're like connecting to the universe, or you're connecting to your spirit, you're connecting to your ancestors, and you're
Always.
connecting to all everything that brings life, you know what I mean? And then there's also a story about us just being spirits, and what that means, and how that entails, and how we live our lives. And so when you do that, it always comes around to where the cultural stuff plays a large part of it, and just recognizing your existence, and your place in your family, not just your family, but
Yep.
your community. And beyond that, just kind of like the spirituality of it, in the relationships, and how we're all connected, because I always like those art drawings, where those paintings where they have different representations of spirit, right? Of
Yep.
spirits. And there's little lines that are drawn between them. And that's the whole thing about the way that we lived, is we were all connected, not only just to each other as human beings,
Yep.
but as spirits, as connected to our clans, connected to our, and all of the stuff that we learned about our role. So that's very impressive. I really like, and people have to turn the corner on that, because there's a negative impression about our traditional ways, and they think it's a lot of voodoo, and you know what I mean. But it's not. It's really beautiful, and I always try to tell people, how did our people survive? How did they live here? And granted, yeah, there was plenty of game, there was plenty of resources. There were
Yep.
trees that you couldn't even hug, and all that material stuff that this dominant culture loves, about digging into the earth and
Yeah.
extracting whatever, and now we're coming back to this thing where, well, all the money's been drained out of it, there's people want to live in a balanced way, so that they're not impacting the environment,
Yep.
so now they're trying to understand
Yep.
this balancing act that, and it's already part of us. We already live like that,
Yep.
and that's what's nice about following your teachings, is that it's going to teach you, or at least you're going to remember or be reminded of how to live, with that balance. And then, where you just kind of say, well, hey, you know what? I could go and cut all these trees down. I could go and, pull all this, whatever it is, out of the air and make money from it, because nobody else knows how to do it.
Right.
But do I really need to do that? You know what I mean? It's about feeding your family. It's about taking care of your elders. It's about taking care of your kids, teaching them, you know, how to move forward in this life. And so, yeah, we have to learn how to do computers and all this.
Well, that's one of the things growing up, I was taught that, you know, everything in this world
Mhm.
has a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, if we keep taking the resources, they're here for a purpose, and there's consequences to things that we take. And you know, I always thought, you know, believe that, you know, there's everything on this earth, it has a spirit also,
Mhm.
and that's what I believe. And you know, if we keep taking resources, you know, you know, what kind of world are we going to leave our kids,
Mhm.
our grandkids, and
Yep.
you know,
And I believe in science, you know, I mean, there's room for that, you know, I mean, how are we, like today, what, there's almost 9 billion people on this earth?
By 2050, they're projecting
Yeah.
the population will be
And
up to
so-
9 billion.
You know, that type of science I can agree with, you know what I mean, where they're finding better ways to feed everybody, you know, but there's still these pockets in our systems that, you know what I mean, like people that are still starving out there and have limited resources as far as that's concerned, and limited water. I mean, water is so important, and I think those are the teachings that we have already within us. You know,
Yep.
we believe, like you guys were talking earlier, Perry, about your grandma, about how would you say water is,
We are water.
we are water.
Yep.
You know, and just saying it in a different way, because well, yeah, you know, we're made up with almost 75% water, you know, so we have to understand that, you know, a particular type of water is so important. But what I was getting back to was the language and the culture, and everything's tied together, and especially Maday, you know, and I can't stress enough that we need to have more teachings about that,
Yes.
you know, because it's not evil, you know. The only reason why it was made to be evil, or that anybody that in the church said it was evil, is because they wanted you to turn to the church. You know, they wanted you to turn to the stores. They wanted you to turn to, you know, buying this stuff that people were making money on. And so that's the system that we live with. Whereas Maday taught us how to live here. You know, taught us how to take care of ourselves spiritually, how to take care of ourselves.
But that's my goal, George, is to, within the next year or so, is to get myself and my son Perry into Medewi. So
I got everything you need to go through the Medewi, a whole thing probably about 6 months to get everything, because you need so much stuff. But I got that list at home with all you need.
And back in White Earth, when I'm on patrol, I listen to they have radio station there, Niji Radio, and they always give our excuse me. They have our word of the day play most of the time. I hear Don Chosa.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I hear my mom giving the word of the native word of the day. So I enjoy that, and so
Wow.
it's
Yeah, they asked us when we first started that if they could utilize that, and I said, yeah, it's for everybody.
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's good to hear,
Yeah.
especially when I'm on patrol. The days get long. We
Yeah.
work 12-hour days, and
Mm-hmm.
I just turn it to the radio station.
Yeah.
I think it's native radio station in White Earth, and I can hear all our elders giving the word of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and boy, it just brings a smile to my face and makes the long day short
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Yep. I get a lot of comments about that too, like FedEx drivers, delivery drivers. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, I just love your show, you know, everything that you guys are doing. Keep it up, you know." And we even Brandon, when he did his morning show, he used to have some big fans out there. From
Yeah, he had
all these little delivery guys, you know.
requesting songs, and
I mean, I don't mean to call them little, but all these delivery guys, and of course they're important, right?
Yeah,
but he entertained them, and you know, while they're out there on the road.
Yeah,
and like you said.
I enjoy it. Just a familiar face and or familiar voice when I'm working. Hear my mom, and hear the other elders give the word of the day and
Mhm.
voice for it on.
And how do you tune into to KBFT then when you're riding around?
Uh,
Do you use our app?
I used a cell phone. There used to be a number you could dial in.
Oh yeah, okay.
A number, and it would go right to your phone.
Yep.
Like making a phone call. So
Yep,
I'd,
yep.
I'd listen to that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's still available for all you people that are out there. If you ever want to take us, in your vehicle or you're hiking or whatever it is that you want to do, you can just dial that number and use your cell minutes, or you can download our mobile app on your phone. Go to your Google Store, Play Store, or go to your App Store on iPhone and just type in KBFT Radio and it'll bring up our app. Download it, and there's a big play button right at the bottom. You just hit that and away you go.
Yep. Some good listening.
Yeah.
I love the programs.
Definitely. Well, what we always try to do is we try to. I'm sorry.
Do you have anything more to say? We're gonna take a little break. Well,
Need some
go
water
on.
again? You need some water?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe,
I'll go get you some.
yeah, then
All
maybe
right,
can
we're
you?
gonna take a
can you-
break here. We want to thank Pete for coming in and sharing your knowledge. Really appreciate it. Really proud of you, and keep it up. And we hope to see you, of course, in the future. Sharing your language.
Then I'll come.
Miigwech for having me, and miigwech shigagewanu, miigwech
Nash
nashgibanas.
Yeah, I'll come to Pointers whenever you want me to,
Okay.
but you're gonna have to drive me over there. No.
And miigwech,
Yeah.
miigwech
From an
zibikine
away
zagigan and dunchipa.
Oh,
Play a kid
all
one.
right.
if
We're
you
gonna take a 5-minute break here, freshen up our coffees, get some water, and yeah. So I'm gonna play some music for you. I think she wants me to play some of these Nayashin songs that were recorded. So I'm gonna do some of that. I'll pull up some
Oh, yeah.
Anishinaabe language, and yeah, we'll be right back. What was that one?
My home, my house. And is my home.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In Waka Iganing is my house.
Gotcha, okay. And he's just talking about chairs and tables?
Yeah, and
okay.
open a window.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Perry put this on silent, but we can.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Was it on silent?
yeah.
Okay. So we'll ask for
At this number here, Tony Nichols, our producer here, is going to put the number up on the screen here, and that number for you listeners out there is 218-750-7268, and we'll let you know when to call here just in a few seconds, but I just want to give everybody an opportunity to take this number down. I know how it is, and if you're driving out there, make sure you pull over and write this number down. It's 218-750-7268, and we've got some prizes here. We got some gift certificates. There's enough of them that you should be able to pick one of them, and after you call in, just stay on the line and we'll have somebody take your information. Perry will probably get your information so we can either mail the item to you, or yeah, you can stop by and pick it up right here at the offices. I know young Brian Whiteman, he won last week, right?
Yep, he picked his gift card up too.
call again, Brian.
Yeah, so we've got another chance to win here. I know we've got $25 gift certificates, and then also some other
Patents.
items. There's a patents gift certificate, and then there's a Cup Foods gift certificate.
I think.
And the station is going to throw in, how about a Google Play
Wow.
certificate, so you can buy some apps or buy some movies or music or whatever it is that you'd like to buy on your phone. And we'll also throw in another, if they want, they can pick out a $25 Apple store card, or just an Apple gift certificate or something like that.
Some tunes on your
Yeah,
iPhone?
some tunes on your iPhone or whatever it is that you want to pick up.
Or a game.
Or a game. There you go. Games are fun too. So check that out. We'll add that to the inventory, or the what is that called? The treasury. So yeah. Okay. What we're asking for, what Auntie wants you to come back with, is give us some animals that hibernate. You know. And then maybe some birds that fly south. So give us a either or you can mix them together. Yeah, and we're going to take the first caller going right now, okay? 218-750-7268.
Weeb.
Yep, way weeb, yeah.
That means hurry.
We need you to call in right now. And Auntie Karen is standing by. And if you have any questions too, she, besides this contest line, you could probably get a hold of her on Facebook. She does Facebook Live every once in a while on her own. And so you can reach out to her online, or you can reach out to her on this number also, if you got questions. She loves answering questions. So if you want to know how to say something, or maybe you want to know something about getting a name, or you want to know something about wild rice, or you want to know something about anything, yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. How do you say that one, Nastibanese?
Don't be shy. Gego Aguji. Gego Aguji.
Yeah, Agaji. Agaji.
Akaji. Gegu Akaji. Don't be shy. Yeah, I know. So just give us some animal names. I know I heard people giving me some feedback on calling in. They said, oh yeah, I don't want to be on the air, you know, and I'm like, come on. You know, the more we do it, the more we get used to it. That's what I always say, you know. I mean, I remember my aunties, right? Cecile and Cynthia, when I was just a little boy when I first moved up here. It was about 1977, I believe, or 76. Even before then, I think. They used to have those little recorders, those little black tape recorders with the little record button on it.
Mm-hmm.
And cassette tapes. That's what they were. They were cassette tapes, and they used to go around and record stuff. And so I remember they were recording me when I was just a little kid, and I remember how much I hated that. Oh, that was awful. But you know what? Don't be shy. Don't be shy like that. I mean, look at me. What? I'm 55. 50 years later, I'm flapping my lips here on. And hard to stop me. No.
Yeah, no, I was so shy I couldn't even get up in front of people and talk.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's all I do is talk. You know? Gigido.
Gigido. So yeah, we're still waiting for the caller. Like I said, that number I'm putting up on the screen again, and Tony's going to put it up. 218-750-7268. There we go. I think we're getting somebody there.
Not yet. Going with shit.
It lit up.
Boy, me. It was on silent. I
thought I put it back on.
Is it on silent?
No,
it'll ring now.
Yeah, it'll ring. Yeah, so Brian came in here and picked up his prize. He said, our show is always, it coincides with his work route for Big Woods Transit. He says he has only missed one show. He listens every time.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and Brian Whiteman Jr., I was so surprised. I was like, man, when people say stuff like that.
I was going to call him Beneshians.
That little bird.
Yeah. Beneshians.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
I think they're gonna have to turn down their radio just a tad.
When ending.
Oh, wait. I had to turn off my radio.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. When ending. What's your name? Who are you?
This is Millie.
Millie. Oh, Millie. When ending. That means who are you?
Yeah, I've got tiny screens open on my thing.
Okay. What are the animals that hibernate or the birds that go south?
Swans go south and
How do
bears hibernate.
you're supposed to say them in Indian.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Well, I don't remember how to say swans now, but
Okay.
Makwa.
Yeah, makwa. Okay, I'll tell you how to say swan. Wabisi.
Oh yeah, Wabisi.
Wabisi.
See, they're white.
Wabisi.
White birds are swan. Wabisi. Well, you won a prize.
Wabisi. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
What do you want?
Your,
Which one?
your makwa. That was a good one too.
Surprise me.
Okay, we'll just surprise you then. Just keep-
How many apps you got open? Really?
Well, I had the tab on Facebook open,
Oh.
and I had my radio going because you were silent on Facebook,
Oh,
and so
okay.
I was switching back and forth between all them.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, in that case, how about we surprise you with a, what do you like, Apple or Google?
Apple.
Okay, we'll
Nice,
get you an Apple
nice.
gift certificate.
Okay. Miigwech, call in again.
Yep.
Miglecha Bizendawe.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Gigawabaman.
Giga Wabaman.
All right. Later. like Tony says, Bonnie Ma.
Bonnie Ma.
What's he trying to say, Bonnie Ma?
Later.
Oh, Bama. Oh,
Bama, yeah.
that's what we. Gigawabamin Bama.
That's what we would say here, Bama.
Or Nagaj later.
Nagaj or Bama.
Nagaj, yeah, you could say it both ways.
Or Bama
Bama
P.
P, or a Nagaj.
Okay. There we go,
Or
yeah.
just Bama. Gigawabamin Bama.
All right, we got like 9 minutes left. 8 minutes and some seconds. I'll put the timer up here for us so we can
Okay, I'll see
ease on out of this
I'll see.
program.
what we can talk about here.
Oh, I know what I wanted to. We didn't really touch on what Fred was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to touch on the spirit. Remember, he called them spirit ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand what he's saying. I mean, they're kind of artistic. I don't know if this one has it. Nope.
Yeah.
See, this
They-
one, this flag here has the silhouettes of real ducks
Yeah.
on it. But I know what he's saying. I think the one outside there, the one that's hanging in the school
Yeah.
over there, that one has those old artistic ducks. They're kind of like represented. You ever see those paintings where they're not like real animals, but they're representations of animals? Yeah, like that. And so I kind of understand what he's saying about.
Like them, he's saying like them fancy ducks.
Yeah.
Them ones, how they make them and like them, like a nice colored mallard or whatever. You ever see them nice colored pictures?
Yeah. Yep. I should put up a picture of both of them just so people kind of understand what I'm talking about, what Fred was talking about, because I don't think they had one to show on his thing. But Perry, what we're going to do is we're going to take that audio from yesterday.
Yeah.
Tony's going to edit it, and he's going to kind of put it into like take out all the little breaks and whatever else that just so it flows in a good way. And then we're going to run it on the air, just so people will kind of understand it, because he had a lot of powerful teachings that were in there about the duck and what it represented, and not really an actual duck, and it was more or less the spirit of the duck. And what's funny about that is it's probably just a natural way of life, in like these modern way or non-native way, because they try to do something that represented the spirit of the duck, but now they put these silhouettes of these actual, and I know what they are, they're mallards, those silhouettes that are on there. So it kind of takes away that spirituality of it, the whatever it meant in that way, where now it's just a mallard, and I can see how today that you would kind of turn something into that format. You know what I mean?
My takeaway from his what he was saying was, I remember he said it. He said, "I don't know." This is Fred McDougall's words that I'm paraphrasing from, or I'm quoting. He says, "I don't know whose authority or who was in charge that changed the design."
Yeah.
That's the big takeaway that I took from it. I'm like, because they should have had that traditional say it again. Ikadon Minowa. Zaga Kwan.
Zaga Kwan.
Strong wooded ones, people of the thick fir woods, men of the thick fir woods. That was the original name.
That's how you see.
And he covered so much stuff from the spirit
Yeah.
ducks, the original name. He wanted to know so much, and in his curiosity, he informed me. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Well, see what I was saying, or trying to say was, did you see how the spirituality aspect of it just was taken out of it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 So,
And that's why he inquired about whose decision was it to take all that
Yeah.
yeah,
all
Who
that out.
asked who did the what do you call
the
it?
design change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean,
He
okay,
said
so
it was Dan Morrison, Gary Donald, Doris Isham. What else did he say? It was
You know,
done in-
and it probably was more innocent than, you know what I mean, than
Yeah.
anything else, and just saying, well, these are just artsy ducks. Aren't you guys known for duck hunting? Oh yeah, put some mallards on there. If we're gonna be known for duck hunting, let's put mallards on there, you know?
They probably had somebody down there too that did the drawings and stuff, you know?
Well, I know they get a lot of suggestions from outside.
Yeah.
They're called ad agencies that they work with, and I suppose that might have been some of the things. I know when we design our little logos on our website, I often have to guide the designers, and just so they remember that I always tell them, make it artsy. Just like this new website that we did with our trees. I don't want actual trees. I want an artsy representation of the trees, you know? And so when we redesigned the Fortune Bay logo, you'll see them trees that are on there too.
Mhm.
And then the water, and then you'll see the 3 stars. That's why I put the stars in there, was because of Net Lake and where the star is on that logo. And then Vermilion, which was way over to the east, and then down south, kind of southwest of the the Net Lake star was Deer Creek. So that's why there's 3 stars in there. And you know, that was taken from the original Fortune Bay logo. Remember, they had them 3 stars that were just shooting straight up. Yeah. So I said, keep them 3 stars, but those stars are going to represent our communities or our lands.
Mhm.
You know, when Head Start, Clara was really a good artist. She could draw anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she designed the Head Start logo.
Mm-hmm.
And she also designed our jackets. We had Head Start jackets.
Mm-hmm.
And she did the artwork
Yep.
on her own.
I was looking at that one picture you keep in your purse. She drew.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, the sheer talent that she had. I could never even ever. I'm an amateur artist myself, like, but
Yeah.
the artwork she's doing, that's pro level, like expert level.
Yeah. She designed the water, the hot and the cold.
Mm-hmm.
And she drew, you know. But it was quite teach them how to say the woodmen.
Zaga Guan Daku
Niniuk.
Niniuk. Zaga Guan Daku Niniuk. Yeah. Zaga Guan Daku Niniuk. Like, you guys said that there's like 3 different ways to say it, at least, that people have documented. Zaga Guan Daku Niniuk. And you brought that up, how Don Chosa, his family used to know how to say it too.
Yeah,
And
Don-
Jesse and
yeah.
JS and all.
They all knew the story about how Net Lake was the first Net Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, then they come across this story about a man that, you know, found and seen a net man, and he called it Zabi, because
Mm-hmm.
Sabi is a net, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But gigagawa nagiji tamin uma. That I'm saying we're almost done here. Gigagawa nagiji tamin uma.
Mm-hmm.
Gigagawa nagiji tamin uma.
We're almost done.
Gigagawa.
I'll redesign this, but I
a
won't
couple
change
seconds
any.
here, so want to wish everybody a happy Thursday, and Gikawabu Minwa Tuesday,
Ja, Nijo Gishikat.
Nijo Gijikat.
Nungong Niwin Gishikat. Basically,
Alright.
she even 4 days
4 days. Okay,
Thursday.
so you guys all take care. We'll check you later.
Even all the men.
I'll redo this in a flyer format and make it look. I'm not going to change any spellings though. I'm not going to change any of the, because this is special. I've never seen it. I think I've seen that once. Your house,
Yeah.
parts of Net Lake.